Well, hello there, and welcome to the longest pocket build video on my channel so far that isn't a live stream. Where this time I'm gonna be building my entry for the castle challenge. It's quite a humongous build, so there are a load of timestamps in the description so you can easily get to a section you wanna watch, since most of you probably don't want to or simply can't watch a video that's 18 minutes long. This video also took loads of time to make, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd share, like and subscribe if you enjoy what you're seeing. As I already said, this build was made for the castle challenge in the official Pocket Build Discord server, so not for Pocket Build Palace. This challenge was probably the best challenge when it comes to the build quality and the amount of submissions. There are some incredible builds in this challenge. It even got 3 people ranked up to Master and 1 to Legendary. And someone getting ranked up to Legendary hasn't happened since last August when Storm Nakamura got ranked up. These rank ups are of course in the official server and not in Pocket Build Palace, just saying this to be clear. Diggy currently isn't in the lead though, but he got Legendary. Mr. God of War, which also won 4 out of 5 of the weekly challenges in Pocket Build Palace so far, is absolutely whacking everyone with more than double the votes of the shared position second place position where Diggy is at currently, followed by Dexterity, and Dexterity also got ranked up to Master. And behind Dexterity there is Zelda, who also got ranked up to Master. And then there are 3 people behind that: Hera, and 4 actually. Hera, who is a mod, Rumble, who is also a mod, me, and Alexandra, who is a dev. Yes, an actual dev participated in this challenge. And Rumble also made a mini-series of his challenge build on his YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out. And behind it there are the other 6 competitors, which have 0 votes unfortunately. So be sure to vote on your favorite build on this challenge. The more people vote, the better. Now let's talk a bit about my build. This challenge we had to build with a pre-built terrain. We had 2 choices, which were quite similar yet different. One was built by Diggy and the other by BRDSK. I chose to go with the one by Diggy because of the line of mountains. My first idea was to build a strip of towers and buildings on those, which I ended up doing. You can see me starting the strip right now with this enormous bridge going over the entrance of the bay from one mountain to the other. Later on in this video you'll see me build a clusterfuck of buildings and 2 dungeons, which are meant to be the big eye catcher on a strip of mountains. Down on the terrain below it, I originally wanted to build a tiny bit more of the castle, and beyond that an enormous pirate city, which I didn't end up doing because there was no space for an entire city on the islands. Besides that, my iPad can't handle anything that's much bigger than this anyway, so the only thing I decided to build outside of the castle walls is the harbor, which isn't more than a few docks with a galleon in it. I once again focused a lot on first person just because I really like walking around in first person and exploring stuff in the world, and I want other people to enjoy that too. There are 7 buildings with interiors in this build, which are the dining hall, the kitchen, the weapon storage, the blacksmith, the stables, or stables, however you say it, the prison, and the wizard's tower. I once again tried to include as many little details as I could with conversations and stuff, but wasn't able to add as many of those as I would have liked, because my iPad couldn't handle more. For this build, as you may have noticed, I used the monarch castle pieces because I never really used them properly, apart from the goblin prison in Foxville, which was really basic. And I tried to have a castle that made sense from a defensive perspective, and I think I succeeded, because the only way you can probably siege this castle is by getting ships in the harbor. And to get a big ship in there you need to go under the bridge that I'm building right now. I actually don't see how one could probably siege this castle with the tools they had back in the time when this castle would be built. As per usual, this build also has a little bit of lore behind it. I'll just read it out for you real quick. A huge fortress built on an island for times of war. This castle functions as both a point of defense as a point of offense when there is war with a land overseas. When there is a war on land, people in dangerous areas in the kingdom can ask to get sheltered in this mighty structure far away from their endangered homes. It's the home of the kingdom's mighty fleet that's always partly on patrol while also partly being the harbor in case of a siege. This sign of power isn't self-sufficient though, it relies on a good supply from the main land, but that food supply too is heavily guarded and practically impossible to take down. I didn't bother adding much more lore to this build than this, for two reasons. One, you are only allowed to have 4 short paragraphs max in the submission channel as lore. Two, the lore of this build is important for clearing up questions like how do they get food, what's a fort function anyway. It's not like the king would like to live in a big great pile of bricks, and if I would integrate things like that in a much longer story, you'd easily read over it. You may have noticed that with the bridge, I first built a slope down from the top of the bridge to the ground with stone fences and then filled it in with monarch wall blocks. This is so that I could get a nice and even slope instead of having a flat wall, which would look too thin for such a high bridge. This, on the other hand, looks way stronger and also adds a bit of depth to the bridge. And in a moment you'll see me start to build on the entrance gate of this castle. I think if I would have built the whole castle in the way I've built the entrance gate, like in such a high amount of detail and unique shapes and stuff, I think it would have looked much better, but I unfortunately A, didn't have time, and B, just don't have the device for such a thing. But I'm happy that I could actually find, I'm just happy with the end result of this entrance gate really. It went through a lot of different designs and stuff, and it actually took quite a lot of time since it's quite precise and technically quite advanced. I must point out though that because of the size of the windows, because I used the towers with the windows here, it looked kind of a bit out of proportion with the rest of the towers on the walls, because they used bigger window pieces, sized up more. So those windows were way bigger, which caused this gate to look a bit out of proportion. And after I finish this gate, I think I'm gonna start working on the inside of the castle walls. Don't get me wrong, I know it's not realistic in any way, but everything has its purpose, nonetheless. And well, I just like the looks of things really, and it's cool to explore in first person, but I simply don't really like going for ultra realism. I just like to build whatever I feel like building, and not really care about realism. And really going for realism with a monarch castle in this terrain is really illogical, because this is not really that much of a logical terrain for a monarch castle to be in. Neither is really having any real castle here really logical, except for if it's built for other purposes than just functioning as a form of defense, because you wouldn't really siege an island. You wouldn't necessarily need a castle like this on an island normally. You would normally build it on the mainland. Having a food supply and stuff isn't really usual for a castle. At least not having a food supply via ships. What I want to say is basically, normally you wouldn't build this kind of castle on an island. But there are castles in this challenge that do make sense on this island. For example, the one by God of War, which is basically a very Hogwarts inspired castle, and it looks absolutely amazing. It's really technically advanced and stuff. He got Master Builder for it for a reason, and that does actually look like it makes sense on that island. And the one by Diggy and Dexterity, those ones, I find them somewhat similar. It was actually quite close to who I'd vote on, Diggy or Dexterity. Ended up going with Diggy. But I simply just how do I say this? I just And the build looks like it would make sense then, not from a realistic perspective, but it just fits really well with the landscape and stuff. It's absolutely epic to look at, so I recommend you join this official server to take a look at it, and just simply have a good look at who you're voting for, because there are some incredible builds in this challenge. There's even by Mr. Puri. He built or they built. I don't even know that gender, to be honest. Mr. Puri is just a nickname I came up with in a live stream. So I think Mr. Puri is actually a female, but I'm not sure. They built a candy-themed castle on the, I think it was BRDSK's island, because there was quite a lot of green, so this one has a lot of rocks and brown stuff and stuff. Yeah, okay, that sentence didn't make sense, I know. And BRDSK had a lot of grass and stuff on the island. Yes, I know I'm saying and stuff way too much, but deal with it. My video, my channel. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the commentary. Don't forget, there's a timestamp in the description to the real-time section, so be sure to head over there if you're sick of listening to music while I'm building stuff, or you're just here to listen to my voice. I'm looking at you, K9. So anyway, I'll see you in the real-time section. Bye. Alright, and here we are on the real-time section, standing beside this enormous galleon that I've built using a tutorial of another YouTuber guy. He made a video on how to transform a shipwreck into a galleon. I didn't complete the whole thing because I prefer to look in the way it is now to the way he built it eventually. But I'll leave a link to his video in the description. Let's just walk to the castle. I'm in standard settings right now, so you can't really see that far. But that's for the sake of the recording not automatically stopping due to the processor being overloaded. Let's just walk to the blacksmith first. Here's a little apprentice that's hurt his finger. And here's the blacksmith himself, forging a sword, like the other swords he's forged here. These can't be turned on anymore due to hitboxes and stuff, but I've left this open by the way so that the smoke can get out if they were lit, but I didn't lit them because that would cause lag. And here's a little house for the blacksmith. It's unfortunate that these fences are so old that they don't have a texture on the bottom of them. Lagging a bit here. Let's just go to the stables, or stables, however you call it, whatever you call it, I meant. This is the first interior that I built in this world, and I now see that I should have put the wall behind that, because it's not completely solid, these wood things. And here's a little hoofsmith, and here's the horse shit. I have a shovel with me right now, but this ain't working, so. I have also put a sign by every interior build, and this is the grand dining hall. Show up, show up. Yeah, whatever. It's the grand dining hall. So here's a little fire to roast things on. And as you can see, I left it quite simple in here. Once again, because my iPad couldn't handle it. I could have went ultra detail, but I didn't. And this pathway here is a fast way to get to the kitchen and to back again. And I've noticed that here's a little gap, but don't mind it. Because here's the kitchen. And the cook is, our chef, whatever he is yelling at his help person thingy, but because he's sleeping. And once again, these could be lit, but I can't click on them anymore because they're inside a building. Let's head to the weapon storage now. Here there are weapons all over the place that can fire at possible siege thingies. And here's the weapon storage. These two have a little text. Apparently this is none of my business, even though I'm a knight. And you can also walk up here. But I made these steps too big, so. And here's a little ladder. I'll place my person up there in a minute. And this seems to be a bit glitched out. And here's a ballista firing at possible people that siege the castle. And a bit of weapon storage once again. It's all over the place really. Now let's go up the wall here. All is stacking on, and boom. Once again, here's another ballista, but I didn't use these walls because they were a bit too high for the ballistas, for my feeling. And here's a little door that leads through a tunnel that goes to the dungeons. At least that's the Dutch name for these two main towers. The main tower of a castle is called a donjon in Dutch. I don't know if that's the same in English. And here's the upper part, or the roof element of the kitchen. And here's another little stair which leads to the wizard's tower. And here are a bunch of rocks. I wanted to build a treasure cave here, but that didn't work out because the mountain is too thin to have a cave in it. And I have a lot of trouble getting there. Alright, now here are little supplies of the wizard. And a spiral staircase. And this is a person I use to take cinematic shots. Get out of here. Boom. You didn't see that one coming. Don't turn your back on me, old man. He thinks I'm his new apprentice, apparently. Here's his dinner, but the name thingy won't show up. Here's his broom, as in a normal broom, to clean up things, but... jeez. The hitbox of this sign is a bit broken. And here are some weird plants, his magic sticks, as he likes to call them. And something ancient, he doesn't know what it is. And here's it. Dang it. These are the barracks for the soldiers and people that take shelter here. So you can sleep here and stuff. And there's once again stuff on here. And you're meant to be able to access this via the inside of this building. That's why there's a little here and also over there. And there's a giant bridge. I recommend checking this world out for yourself too. It may be a bit too big to load in fairly high settings for you, even if you don't record. So I recommend setting it to low. You won't be able to get the full experience, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is with big worlds. But believe me, seeing something on your own device in your own game is always cooler than in a video or a picture. And here too is a way to get up here via this ladder. Alright, now let's jump down. Here's the archery range, because that's quite important to shoot at ships. And there seems to be another one of my first person people thingies that I use to take screenshots. Here are the prisons. Let's turn it to night actually, because well, it's supposed to be dark here. As you can see, this vent may be a little too dense to see through. I should have maybe scaled them up a bit so that the holes will be bigger and you could actually see something in them, but I didn't, and now I can't really access them anymore. Let's walk out again. And now here's the part I'm totally not satisfied with, this little church. It looks ugly as hell, especially when the surroundings are so empty as they are right now, but I A, didn't have time, B, my iPad just couldn't handle anymore. And let's get up here. Here are another 2 ballistas and another way to A, get into the clusterfuck of apartment buildings thingies that are also meant to be shelter for people that seek shelter here. That sounded weird. And through there you can also get to the dungeons. And here's a little door that you can use to get to stairs inside this building, which aren't real and stuff. So via there you can get onto the bridge. And you have this really nice view of the ocean and white tiles that are here to mark out the area you're allowed to build in. And another first person camera. Die, please. Thank you. Now let's get to that wall over there. Wow, I made it. Now here's another little defense thingy and a lot of supplies on these walls. I would have liked to do this on all the walls, but I couldn't. Once again, because my iPad couldn't handle more. And this wall just goes on and on. Now let's get to the gate here. These little things here can get the these two things that can rotate can lift up the gate thing, and can also get it down. And here's the thing that pours the hot oil on people that siege the castle, which I also thought was a fun little detail. Not sure what this is here. Didn't notice. Shouldn't have been there. And now let's get to the last little detail of the whole build, which is so hidden away that I forgot to even take screenshots of it and stuff after I built it. Follow along this little cliff edge here. You probably saw this in a time lapse, but here's the sewer thing outlet, and via here you can actually let me try to get back up. Oh wait, I'm swimming. Can I get up again? Let me get up again. Ah, dang it. Here's another little bridge. Yes, no, not working. Okay. I'll just get up here. And here's the little protected outlet. I took inspiration from Diggy's recreation of Helm's Deep that I did a world spotlight on. It also had a similar thing to this. But anyway, that's about it. That's all I really have to show you. Let's put him back in place. By the way, this is the person that doesn't play rules, so that's why he's called your armor. Basically like your camouflage in the City of the Dead, which is completely first person focused, which was my entry for the first person challenge. But I lost all time lapses for that one, so that's why there's no Let's Build video of that. Wait, let me fix something here. Hooray, that's fixed. Or should be somewhat fixed now. No, that ain't fixed. Oh, whatever. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the first person tour. For now, I'll leave it alone to the cinematics and the outer screen. This has been the whole video really, apart from the cinematics. I'll see you later. Bye.